So let us continue with our lesson, and the next step would be that if you notice that whenever we are have a successful login and we are getting our user data, so we are basically our email and the token and the token ID, all of this stuff. So what we have to do is we need to store this user detail in our local storage. So later we can use it, like let's say the token access token, we need it to get the data, like to add a post or to retry the post from a server. So we need a access token. So whenever we are logging, we are getting the access token and we need to store that data. So what we'll do now is we'll go and let's go to the model over here, and in the local, in this package, what I will do is I'll create a new class over here, and that should be of a class, and let's call it as uh, user preference, or we can call it as a app, preferences. Okay, so app preferences. So we can save all of the app preferences in this file, and let's have a constructor for this one. Sorry, for let's have a constructor, and in constructor let's create a private val of a, let's say pref as reference, and it should be of a shared shared preferences. Okay, so Android that content. So just make sure you take that one. And what we'll do now is we will create some of the constant so companion object, and we'll create a static variable over here of a constant val. Let's say what we are getting over here is whenever we are, let's go to the remote and let's go to the response, and on the auth, if you go to the login, we are getting a token access token, token ID, user ID, and name and email. So let's save all of this record. So what we'll do is let's go over here and let's create a constant variable of a key, and it should be of our user ID, and that should be of our, let's say we give a name of our preferences, and underscore key, let's say user, underscore user, and that should be of our ID. And let's just copy this one and let's paste. I think we need the address file. So next is we need access token. So we need the access token. Let's go over here, and okay, let's make this one as access token. So key access access underscore token. So we have this one. So just copy, and or if we can just copy this side access token and just paste it over here. Yeah. So with the preference key of access token, and after access token, what we need is a token ID. So let's go and create a token ID. So and token ID, and just copy this one and just paste add after the key. So we have a preference key access token and token ID and user ID and name. So let's create a user over here, should be of a name. So just copy this one and just paste it over here. And finally, I think the final state is of an email. So we have a last, which is of a, let's call it as a user email. So email, and just copy this section and just paste it over here. So we have created a constant variable over here of access token, token ID, user ID, name, and user email. So let's have a function to save this record as well as to get the record. So over here, let's go and let's create a function, and let's say as a set access token. So SSE access TOKEN access token. So we will save the access token over here. That we should we should pass a string value over here first. So it should be of let's say SSE access underscore token, and that's of string data type. And what we need to do is we need to save the record. So to save the record, what we can do is can just say ref dot edit, and we can just put the string that we are getting. The string is we need to save this key access token and the access token. So TOKEN, sorry for the spelling. Just copy and just paste it over here. So this will save the access token for us, and we need to finally apply. So apply means that we will save the record. So now we have set the access token. So what we'll do is we'll just copy the same function. For another, we need 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's have the 4 function over here, and 4. So access token, and we have another one is token ID, and sorry, the token ID, and I can just pass token ID over here, and preference.edit this should be of a token ID. For the string, when we want to put the string, we have to pass a key value pair over here. This is a key and this is a value that we want to pass. So that should be of a token ID. Just pass it over here. And next is of user ID. So this should be of a set the user ID, and this should be of a user ID. So user ID over here, and just copy and set. So the key would be this one. So key user ID, and the value is the user ID. And the next is of a username. So just remove this one and just set as a user name, and here we just say as a username. Just copy this and just paste it over here, and we just have to pass a key of a username. And finally we have of a user email. So user, let's say email. So you just make it caps. Okay, user email, and you can just say as a user email. So just copy and paste it over here, and finally we have to pass a key. So this will save all of our record, and we need to have a similar record to get. So we can have a function to get a access token. So this function, we want to retrieve the access token, and what we can is a string data type. We want to return a string data type, and that can be of a null, and we can just get it via reference dot get string, and the get string, we have to pass the key that we want to get and the default value. So we can pass it as a default value as a null. If it hasn't been set, then we are going to get a null value. Otherwise we'll get a string of the access token that we are saving. So let's copy all of these. Just copy the same function, and we'll just duplicate it just for okay. So I think one more. So access token, and another one is we need to get a token ID, and over token ID we need to pass a key token ID. Just copy and paste it over here, and after token ID we need we'll set the user ID. So just remove this as a user ID, and we need to pass a key of a user ID to get the user ID, and after user ID we have a username. Just set it as a username, and we need to pass the key. Just copy and paste it over here. And finally we have a user email, so we can just say user email, and we need to pass the key. Just copy and paste it over here. Okay, so we have successfully created a preference or a class that will use a set preference to save our data to our local storage. So we have used a set preference over here, and let's continue with our lesson on the next video, and we will be saving all of our record after we have successful login. So let's meet up in the next lecture. Till then, have a great day.